What is up, guys? Today I'm going to be installing a Mishimoto oil catch can here on my 2020 Jeep Gladiator. Got the 3.6 liter V6. Some people don't even know what an oil catch can is or if they need one. To sum it up, what an oil catch can does is it prevents oil vapors from recirculating back into the intake system, which can clog up your motor and gum it up and everything like that, and it's just not good. Every vehicle out there has blow by, regardless of what it is. The amount of blow by varies from vehicle to vehicle. Typically high performance vehicles that are turboed or that aren't naturally aspirated have more blow by. But again, basically it's a system. It's basically a can that has baffles in it that gets plumbed into the crankcase ventilation system, and the exhaust, the intake gases gets vented through that, and the baffling system in the can separates the oil vapor, which collects, and then that air or intake gas, whatever you want to call it, gets put back into the intake system to be burned. And again, it separates the oil or the contaminated the contamination. Now, there's a lot of information on online. Just Google oil catch cans. If you're not really sure if you need one or if you think you should get one or what's good. Rule of thumb is always, in my opinion, always get one that's baffled. There's some cheap ones online that aren't baffled. The ones that have baffles in them typically work a lot better. There's also universal ones that you can get. You'll have to get some universal fittings and stuff like that. I'm going with a Mishimoto one, which is a complete bolt-on application, plug-and-play application for the Jeep JT and JL with the 3.6 liters. Now, I also believe they have one for the EcoBoost model. I'm not sure if it's out yet. And then I'm sure they'll come out with one if they don't. But any questions, just leave something in the comments, or again, Google is really great. There's tons of people in forums and stuff like that further explain if you need one or not. But I'm going to be installing it on my Jeep here. I'll be doing an update. We'll do like a day update. We'll do like a week update and like a month update to see what the can collects and see how it's working out. So we'll go ahead and we'll review the product, and then we'll go ahead and get it installed on my Jeep here. All right, guys. So I got everything unpacked. First off, I got to say the quality on this stuff is extremely good. The bracket, everything's nice powder coated black. The finish is excellent. The catch can itself is super heavy. I'm not going to get too far in depth about explaining the science behind this thing. Again, there's a lot of information online that you can go. Basically, if you wanted to, you could unscrew these three Allen bolts right there, and the whole top would pop off. And inside this, you're going to see a bunch of baffles and stuff like that, which again, the gas and the oil vapor goes through, and it separates the gas and the oil. And then there's a drain plug on the bottom that it's going to get plumbed up and everything like that. So once it gets full, you just simply drain it out, and you keep going. But you're going to get the can right here. You're going to get a bracket that holds it all together, a couple zip ties, wire ties, whatever, few different size hose clamps. Gonna get like this clamp right here for the hoses. You're gonna get a lock nut. Also comes with push pin, 2 aluminum adapters that get screwed into the catch can with rubber gaskets on them. You're gonna get another adapter here, and then you're gonna get this guy right here, which is for it's like a quick drain right here to drain the oil out, so you don't have to like pull the whole thing apart, which is nice. You're gonna get a piece of hose right here, which is pretty nice thick stuff right here. That I believe is going to go for the drain, and you're going to get 2 other hoses right here with the factory plug and play connectors right there. So again, there's no cutting, nothing like that, which is super nice. So we'll get going on this, and I'll show you how to plumb. Before I start, I just wanted to mention some of the tools that you need. You're going to need a 10mm socket. Careful, that's a rare tool. I know a lot of you guys don't have one. Need a 7mm socket, 16mm wrench, 17mm wrench, 8mm Allen, and a 2.5mm Allen, as well as a ratchet and an extension. All right, guys, so what you're gonna do is first step into installing this is you gotta remove the engine cover. It's super simple. It's gonna be a 10mm bolt in there, and then another 10mm right here. You're simply just gonna unfasten those both bolts there, and this cover simply pops off. There is a grommet in the back, so if it feels like it's not gonna come off, just kind of give it a nice little tug, and the whole thing will pop straight off. All right, guys, next step, once you get the engine cover off, you're gonna remove this crankcase line. It's pretty simple to do. What you're just gonna do is you're gonna push down on that guy there, and the whole thing is gonna pop right off. And then you're gonna trace this line all the way back down underneath. Now there is a push pin right here, so you are gonna have to pull that out. You're gonna trace this all the way back down to here. It kind of goes underneath these hoses, and it's going to come back out right, I know it's a bit hard to see, but right where my hand is, right where you can see this this little green on top of this line, and it's going to be the same type of connection. You're going to simply just push the gray clip in, and the whole thing's going to pop off just like that. And then you're just going to kind of carefully work this whole line out, and you just place this off to the side. You're not going to use this afterwards. It's going to be replaced with one of the supplied hoses by Mishimoto. Now, guys, before I move on to the next step, I do want to take note that showing, so this is a crankcase. This is a crankcase line. This line is merely for exhaust gases and intake air and stuff like that. No oil or anything's really supposed to be going through this line. And as you can see, when just by me taking this off, you can see in the inside oil, that's being passed through this line. So essentially, this is exactly what the catch can is going to prevent, all that extra oil being passed through the motor, which again clogs up your motor, gums up, and it's, by putting this on, it's going to prolong the life of your vehicle. All right, so next step after you get that line removed, you got to pull off this the windshield washer clip right here. You can either pull right up. You're just going to be careful that these lines can be brittle, so you're just going to take like a screwdriver or something, or pliers, and just kind of pull this clip up, get that out of the way. And then what you're going to do, you're going to take your 17mm wrench, and you're going to you got a bolt here, you got a bolt there. You're gonna loosen them up. You want to kind of a gap, I would say maybe a 1/4 inch gap. So don't loosen them all the way, but you're gonna loosen both of those up, and then that's where the bracket for the catch can is gonna slip into place. So we'll go ahead and do that. Once you have these 2 bolts loosened, what you can do is, to keep your washer line kind of dangling around, just use one of the supplied hose zip ties, and you're going to zip tie it to this harness line right here, just kind of prevent it from kind of wobbling around, everything like that. Then you're going to take your supplied bracket, and you're going to make sure you have enough gap in between the washers and the body. You can simply drop it down inside like that, make sure it's pushed down all the way, and then you're going to take your wrench and tighten that up. All right, guys, so now we're going to once you get your bracket installed on the vehicle, now we're going to move into setting up the catch can. All right, guys, so once you get your fittings in place, you're going to take your drain line right here, and you're going to insert the stop into one end, and then you're going to take the other end and you're going to insert it into the drain port down on the bottom, and you're going to use the two smaller hose clamps, and you're going to tighten that up. All right, guys, once you got your drain line all set up, you're going to take that other hose clamp there, kind of slide it over. And I also supplied you with this little grommet plug that you're going to just stick in there just for so debris and stuff doesn't get in the bottom. So your setup should look like that. Then you're going to take the three Allens. It's a 2.5 millimeter Allen. You're going to loosen those, and that's what's going to be used to hold the catch can onto the bracket. All right, guys, so once you take the those three bolts off, or those three nuts off, you're gonna take the hose here and you're gonna slide it down in between the frame of the fender here, and it's gonna come out down like in the down open, and there's gonna be some studs sticking down there that we're later gonna use. Then you're just gonna simply just take your catch can here, you're gonna line it up. Bit difficult with one hand, and you can see the bolts that are on the top there. You're going to line it up, and you're going to use those Allens that you just recently took out, and line it up and secure it using that. All right, guys, so once your bracket's fully attached and everything like that, it's all in there, it's, secure and tight, everything like that. You're going to take your PVC lines. You're going to take the longest one here. There's a short one and a long one. You're going to take your longest one here. It has the standard, factory style quick clamps here, and you're going to run it down to where you originally took the original line off, which is down in there, and then you're going to run it alongside the back here, and you're going to kind of make it nice and clean and tuck it around. And then what you're going to want to do, you're going to want it to come around through here, and you want that long line to go into the import. You need to make sure it goes into the import, otherwise the filtration system and stuff, like it's not going to work properly. So it's clearly marked in and out on each side. You want to make sure that really long one that's going to the back over there is going to get fished around, and you're going to go into that import there. Once you get that all plumbed up, you're going to take that hose clamp, tighten it up, and then we'll run the other line. All right, guys, so once you have that line all fully ran, everything like that, got it secured into the import, you're going to take that next shorter line that you have here, and it's going to go into the outport, which is right here, and you're just going to plumb it nicely all through here, and it's going to go right into this factory plug right here. Now, when you insert these, you got to make sure you really push kind of hard, so this clip engages, and just give it a little tug just to make it sure it's fully sealed. All right, so once you have that last line all plumbed in, tightened up, everything like that, what we're going to do is we're going to go underneath the vehicle here. You're going to get in between the fender liner and the actual fender here, and you can see where we have our drain line coming out. Now there's a stud that's sticking out right here. You're going to take that line, that hose clamp there, using the supplied 10 millimeter bolt, and you're going to fasten this clamp to that existing stud that's sticking out right there. All right, guys, once you get that clamp on down underneath the fender, you're just going to pop your engine cover on, and that's all there is to it. So overall, it's a pretty nice, clean look. It's going to protect your engine in the long run from those that blow-by oil and everything like that. Now, again, as I mentioned before, I am going to do some progression videos to show, what's coming out of this motor. And also, if I do see a lot of interest, I do have another one of these kits available. If I possibly thinking about raffling one off or figuring something out for you guys. So let me know if you have any interest in it. And we can see what we can make happen.